For the other roasters, don't be afraid to say anything about Harry. Rip him all you want. He's getting a little old, and by the time he gets up here, he'll forget everything you said.
That was Jack Buck at the roast for Harry Caray last year. We had a lot of fun that evening, taking a few shots at Harry. We had a lot of laughs, but through that evening, so many speakers echoed the same thought, perhaps best expressed by Jack Brickhouse.
Let's get this guy in the Hall of Fame where he belongs. So it really, as Tom Lasorda said, will mean something. As Skip said, it will mean something. As Jack said, it will mean something. It will mean something to all of us, those in and those to come in.
Well, at last it's happened. After what seems like forever, Harry's been recognized by the Baseball Hall of Fame with the Ford C. Frick Broadcasters Award. And for the next few minutes, some of his friends in baseball would like to pay tribute to him as he moves into the circle all of us in baseball would love to achieve, but only the best do. And that's him, the best of the best, Harry.
Harry, a tribute to Harry Caray from his friends and associates in baseball. Harry and the Roller Coaster Cubs of '89 are brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Better Buick dealers. The Great American Road belongs to Buick. True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value your store of first choice. Pepsi, a generation ahead. Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race.
Who better to start off our tribute to Harry than a Baseball Hall of Fame player and a guy from St. Louis, Yogi Berra. And Yogi, you've been around a long time. Harry's been around a long time. What has he meant to baseball?
Well, I think he's meant a lot to baseball. I know when I was a kid, you know, I used to see, go out to the Cardinals and work out, and he used to broadcast. I used to hear him on broadcasting, and I played cards with him. We played gin. He'll tell you I beat him, too.
You might be able to beat Harry at a gin game, but as Art Howe and Lee May observe, you can't beat him at calling a baseball game.
Well, it's just wonderful that he's going to the Hall of Fame. If there's ever a broadcaster that deserves it, Harry Caray is the one. You know, when you think about Chicago Cub baseball right now, you think about Harry Caray. You know, he's added an awful lot to this game.
Harry seemed to put the people in the spirit of baseball. He fired them up, and I don't think when Harry's broadcast there's ever a dull game.
Manager of the Atlanta Braves, Russ Nixon, remembers one of Harry's signature features.
You know, in the 7th inning stretch deal with Harry is great because I tell you, I want to get involved myself. Of course I can't, but I do.
Singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" is a great tradition at every Cubs home game. Harry, how did you start doing that?
You can only stop a great singing voice. I always did that. You know, not so that anybody could hear me, but wherever they would play, take me out to the ball game, I'd stand in the booth, and where it really became prevalent and really started was at Comiskey Park. And I used to stand up and sing in the booth. Nobody'd hear me except Jimmy Pearsall and the producer. Then Bill Beck bought the ball. And he noticed, lip reading, that I was singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in the 7th inning stretch. Nancy was playing. And without my knowing it, the next night, Bill Beck had a public address microphone stashed away in the booth. And that's what started singing for the public. I saw Bill after that first night. I said, "What in the world's going on?" And he said, "Well," he said, "Harry, I've been looking for 30 years. He said, "I didn't find the right guy until now." And he said, "The first time I heard you sing, I knew you were the right guy." I said, "Oh," I was a little flattered, you know. "Yeah," he says, "I knew that you were the right guy because anybody sitting in the stands would know immediately that he could sing as well or better than you sing and would freely join in." And, of course, that's what makes it, the ability of a fan to join in and sing with me.
And there's something else fans look for from Harry.
And also, he started to train in the White Sox. He would be in midsummer. I mean, it's like 98 degrees and hot and humid. And he's out in center field with his shirt off with the bleacher bums, and they had a shower out there. And they'd go all run up under the shower when they, I guess they got too much heat. And they'd run up under the shower, get wet, and go back out and throw things on the field and yell at the opposing players.
Well, how did you originally go out to the bleachers? Because I know you had a shower in White Sox Park. That's a wonderful idea.
Well, I had the idea in St. Louis. In Comiskey Park, I worked in the bleachers. In Wrigley Field, I worked in the bleachers. You know, when I first went over to the Cubs, so many people wondered, oh, boy, how in the world is Harry Caray going to broadcast for the Cubs? They're such a conservative group. You know, how could I say the things I used to say? How could I sit in the bleachers? Hey, baseball fans are baseball fans. So that's an old fishwife's tale about you're either a Cub fan or a White Sox fan. There are numbers of people who are both American League and National League. They're baseball fans.
And baseball fans, there'll be more about and by Harry after this.
You're the one who leads the cheers, the Cub band with the king of beers, for joining in and staying true, a Budman for coming through. This was for you.
Holy cow.
For the Cub band and a Budman.
To Chicago's newest member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, Harry Caray, this bud's for you.
Looks like a BMW 735. It must be at least 40,000.
More room than the Acura Legend. I'd say 35.
Feels like you're in one of those expensive sports cars.
Fuel-injected overhead cam V6. We're talking major money.
The under $18,000, 160 horsepower Nissan Maxima. The four-door sports car. Test drive one at your nearest Nissan dealer now.
Being cool to find is a state of mind. A refreshing attitude. Things get higher. Cool is all you got. Doing it country cool. Chill on out when the heat comes on. With the cool, smooth Mountain Dew. Doing it country cool. Doing it country cool.
It's been said that the best judge of a car's quality is its owner. The fact is, according to a just-released survey, owners rank Buick and Buick LeSabre the most trouble-free cars made in America today. Period. Get the facts. Buick is better.
And right now, for a limited time, factory-to-dealer incentives could save you up to $3,000. Or get low 2.9% GMAC financing on most Buick models. But hurry, see your better Buick dealer now.
Red Shandies broke in 1945, and he broke in with a fledgling broadcaster by the name of Harry Caray. And Red, it's only fitting that breaking in together with Harry, you guys should be going in the Hall of Fame together this year. Now, you saw Harry through the good times and the bad times. Any recollections of him as a broadcaster?
Well, I thought Harry was an outstanding broadcaster. One thing Harry could do, he could sell anything he had. He had a product to sell, he could sell it. And he called a good game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the early Harry, and I don't think people really realize where you came from. And talk about your early life.
I'm really not too keen about going back. Everybody knows the story's been well orchestrated that I was an orphan, and I came from very, very humble surroundings. I sold newspapers to make a few cents a day, and out of the few cents I made every day, I went to a library, a lending library, and would take out a book. And at that time, it was only, the cost was 3 cents a day. I would read that book and get a chocolate marshmallow sundae where I got the book.
That reading made Harry a man of many interests, but there was never a question about his first love.
My like is sports, number one, baseball, number one, really, and other sports, a fraction behind it.
Harry was a top baseball announcer in St. Louis, Oakland, and Chicago. From those travels, he learned something very important.
It isn't the name of the city across the shirt that's important. It isn't the identity of the star or the identity of the players. They're just temporary actors on the stage. They come and they go. What it is you love, and whether you know it or not, is the game. Baseball. I could go out and do a Little League game. It's baseball. I love it.
Harry's love for the game is evident from the pleasure he brings to each game, and that elevates him to the level of the greatest players in the game. Here's Bill Robinson of the Mets.
Harry is right up there with the greats of Ernie Banks and Billy Williams, and I'd just like to congratulate Harry on his induction into the Hall of Fame. It's just very, very deserving.
And there's no question of Harry's enthusiasm in calling a game.
Here's the pitch. Right there, there it is! Into left field! Hit number 3,000! A run is scored! Musial ran first! On his way to second with a double! Holy cow, he came through!
As a local baseball broadcaster, Harry was tops. So there's one question. Why no network job?
Well, Steve, a couple things you got to realize. Number one, if I say so myself, I was a well-known name on radio. During the St. Louis Cardinals, there was no Atlanta. There was no Texas. There were none of these southeastern teams, southern teams. The St. Louis Cardinals were the southernmost point of the major leagues. Our network was 175 radio stations. The St. Louis Cardinals were not only the team of the Midwest, they were also the team in the South, Southeast, Southwest, and as far as networks would carry it.
I grew up in Los Angeles, and we didn't have Major League Baseball there until the Dodgers came, and then later the Angels. But my dad always talked about Harry Caray and about his broadcasting. When we would listen to ball games, we'd hear the St. Louis Cardinals, and we hear Harry, and of course, Holy Cow was very famous. He made that famous. My dad always talked about Harry, and I had no conception of that until after I got to the major leagues, and then as a player, Harry interviewed me. As a coach, he interviewed me, and now I'm working with the guy, and it's been a pleasure.
I had a chance to go with Mel Allen. I didn't want to go with Mel Allen. I didn't see the sense of being a number 2 announcer when I was number 1 in St. Louis. I had another chance to go with a giant in the big city. I didn't want to go. I thought that my niche in life was to be broadcasting in St. Louis for the rest of my life. Little did I know what was ahead for me, you know. What could I have doing baseball 1 time a week on the network that I don't have more so doing baseball 7 days a week on Channel 9?
Al Michaels, the fine broadcaster for ABC, knows Harry intimately. And Al, I know you have an interesting anecdote about him.
Steve, the first game that I ever broadcast as a Major League announcer was a spring training game in 1971. I'd been hired by the Cincinnati Reds, and we're in Sarasota to play the White Sox. Harry is the voice of the White Sox at that point, and we're all out of sync because I have to get 2 commercials in before the start of the game itself, and I'm behind already, and I'm nervous to begin with, and I don't know what's happening, but Harry winds up in the same boat, and all he does is he gets up in the press box in Sarasota and screams at the umpires, "Hey guys, hold it for 2 minutes and 40 seconds!" And they all looked up in unison and went, "Yes, sir." And that's when I knew that Harry was a big-time guy. He saved me.
I always said that you taught me when to go to the game, when to get off the game. I always knew when the game would get dull, you'd always pick on my cigars, you'd always pick on me for something. Why is it that you're able to do things in the humorous vein that other broadcasters can't get away with?
Well, I think other broadcasters could get away with it if it was natural for them. But when the game is not on the line, I know the ball 1, strike 1 gets dull. That's when I reach and do the old shtick of so-and-so spelled backwards, spelled such and such, and turn to you with something about your cigars. You know, but to tell the truth, your cigars taste as bad when the game's on the line as they do when it isn't.
But you stay away from them until then.
Yeah. It's just a case of realizing that there is entertainment to be provided.
You were my broadcaster when I was with the Chicago White Sox.
Did I ever say anything good about you?
No, you did. You said I had a good curveball, but that was about it.
But you always threw the fastball.
Harry, you've always been outspoken. Are you still the same broadcaster now? A lot of people have said you've mellowed, but are you still the same broadcaster now than you were with St. Louis, Oakland, and the White Sox?
Well, just ask some of the Cubs. You know, I'm glad you brought that up. You know, I go to the ballpark every day. I hope every one of those players on our team gets 3 hits. I hope the pitcher, whoever it is, pitches a shutout. I really want them to do well. But once I start doing the game, the ball is hit to him. It goes through his leg. How in the world can I say his error won the ball game? How can I say when he's up to the plate with the bases loaded and pops up, that he popped up for the last out of the ball game with a tying and winning runs on base, but he looked good doing so? It's impossible.
Before we go to Cooperstown for the induction ceremony, let's have a comment from 2 former players, now broadcasters, Jim Palmer and Johnny Bench.
I never had anybody describe the home runs that I threw any better than Harry. No, really. You know, we used to when we'd be sitting in the locker room, we'd have the TV monitor and Harry doing radio, and I've never seen anybody describe a normal 2-hopper to shortstop as such the most difficult backhanded play that I've ever seen.
Harry Caray is like a 12-volt battery, and every day he gets recharged coming to the ballpark. Every day the fans love him. Harry is baseball, and he's what more people need in baseball.
We'll be back with Harry's induction at the Hall of Fame in a moment.
This is the Porsche 944. This is the Nissan 240SX Fastback and the 240SX Coupe. All are serious high-performance sports cars. In a quarter mile, the Porsche is a little faster. But for the price of one 944, you can own both Nissans and have about $6,000 left to console yourself. For a great deal and great selection, see your Nissan dealer now.
Whether you use your tools on the job or just on the weekends, the place to get them is at a True Value hardware store, where this skilled cordless 3/8-inch power wrench is just $39.99. And these Hirsch Iron Horse 2 folding sawhorses are only $16.99 a pair. Then get this Master Mechanic 26-inch crosscut handsaw for just $11.99. And their Little Tacker electric stapler for only $14.99 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Touchstone Pictures presents Turner and Hooch, 2 very different bachelors trying to adjust to one another.
Are you aware of your drooling problem?
They're sharing the same food.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Make you a margarita?
Wearing the same clothes.
Oh, no! Stop!
Driving the same car.
Here's the keys. Go ahead, drive.
Now man and dog are becoming so close, it's hard to tell them apart. Tom Hanks.
I guess you have to be a dog.
Turner and Hooch, rated PG.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Hey, Dad, there's this party tonight, and
You want to take the convertible?
Actually, the truck would be fine.
Whatever. Have a good time.
Brad?
Mandarin Orange from Slice, the best loved orange soda in America.
Brad! It's your dad.
Boy, is he touchy.
It's been said that American cars don't hold up in value when you sell. The fact is, based on experience, Buick Electra is expected to have the highest resale value among all full-size domestic cars. Think about that, Lincoln. Get the facts. Buick is better.
Now, get 2.9% GMAC financing or up to $1,500 factory cash back on selected Buick Electras and Park Avenues. Hurry, this offer is for a limited time only. See your better Buick dealer today.
Now to Cooperstown in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Here to introduce Harry is Ralph Kiner.
And as I introduce Harry, in the immortal words of Harry Caray, how can a guy from Mexico lose a fly ball in the sun? Harry Caray.
You know, I really have wondered what I should say today. I've been told by others, some of whom are up here on the platform, how greatly I'd be affected by the emotion of the moment. And I am. You cannot possibly stand here and not feel the presence of the legendary figures who've been here before.
And the more I think of all the history which surrounds me, the more inadequate I feel. What a thrill it is to be here today with such super great baseball stars as Johnny Bench, Carl Yastrzemski, and Red Shandy. Not to even forget these other great people who I've known down through the years. And by the way, Red Shandy's and I broke in at the same time with the same team, the St. Louis Cardinals. Red as a player, and I as a broadcaster. And it's very probable that umpiring that day was the great Al Barlick, who's here too. As I reflect on what I'm doing up here in such outstanding company, past and present, I look back on 45 years of broadcasting the thrills of the wonderful game of baseball, which we all love so passionately. And then I think of the fan, and perhaps that's who I represent here today. You, the fan. We are all fans of the world's greatest game, baseball. And I know that it is the fans who are responsible for my being here. I've always tried in each and every broadcast to serve the fans to the best of my ability. In my mind, they are the unsung heroes of our great game. The baseball players come and go, but the game goes on forever. The players, the writers, the broadcasters, no matter how great, all are temporary actors on the stage. It's a game. It's baseball that moves ahead, reaching new heights all the time, generation after generation. And I'm very, very proud of being some part of this important piece of Americana. And speaking of pride, if you don't mind a little parental pride, there are 3 generations of Carays here today. My son Skip, a great broadcaster in his own right in Atlanta. And his son, my grandson, Chip Caray, who's just been named as a television voice of the Orlando Magic of the NBA. Just think of it a moment. 3 generations of Carays, all broadcasting major league sports at the same time. It seems a mathematical impossibility. I must have been married when I was 5 years old. You know, I've been privileged to have as important broadcasting partners such wonderful baseball players as Gabby Street, Gus Mancuso, Joe Garagiola, Jimmy Pearsall, Hall of Famer Lou Boudreau, and Cy Young Award winner Steve Stone. And we in Chicago are so proud of other Ford Frick recipients, such as the late Bob Elson and my dear friend Jack Brickhouse. Nor can I overlook my long partnership in St. Louis with another Ford Frick recipient, Jack Buck. Yes, sir, baseball has given me many happy days and fine rewards. But this day, the day of receiving the Ford Frick Award, is the pinnacle, the zenith, the most important day of my baseball life. I feel honored and privileged today to be here with you. My wife, Dutchie, thanks you. Our children all thank you. And from the very, very bottom of my heart, I thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, let me add my congratulations once more, Harry. And as I said at the beginning of this telecast, I'm very, very happy that you made it. As a matter of fact, there are those of us who have stumped for this for quite a while, and we take the position now that it really kind of means more than ever that a guy like you is in there and finally recognized for the great broadcaster and the great contributor to sports broadcasting that you have been.
Let me add my congratulations to a great guy and a great sportscaster, Harry Caray, in entering the Hall of Fame. WGN should be mighty proud also. He's the third member to enter the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Long overdue. Could happen to a greater person. His contribution to baseball is second to none.
And Harry, let me add my congratulations from all of your friends and co-workers here at Channel 9. You know, when I stepped into this booth 7 years ago, I realized that I was broadcasting with a Hall of Famer. And I knew one day you'd be recognized by your peers as just that. So it's finally happened, and nobody could be happier for you than me. It's well-deserved, because nobody's loved this game for as many years as you have, and nobody has cared about baseball as much as you've cared about it. So, Harry, I hope this is the best day of your life.
I'm a man who likes to have some fun. So every day, I make sure I have me some. I root for the team that makes you stand up and sing. And I go for the beer that's known as the king. I'm a Cub fan and a Bud man. Holy cow! I'm a Cub fan.
Some people claim Ford is the best-built American car. The fact is, Buick beat Ford. According to J.D. Power and Associates, Buick and Buick LeSabre beat Ford, beat every other American make for initial product quality. Get the facts. Buick is better.
And right now, for a limited time, factory-to-dealer incentives could save you up to $3,000. Or get low 2.9% GMAC financing on most Buick models. But hurry, see your better Buick dealer now.
This is White Castle, and this is George. The White Castle Snack Pack, $1.99. This is George's date, Phyllis. The White Castle 8-pack, $3.99. George and Phyllis's date went very well. The White Castle Party Pack, $8.99. George and Phyllis had small fries. The White Castle Family Pack, $7.99. White Castle's for any size appetite. So slide in today and pick a pack, only at White Castle for a limited time. White Castle, the taste for all times.
Looks like a BMW 735. Must be at least 40,000.
More room than the Acura Legend. I'd say 35.
Feels like you're in one of those expensive sports cars.
Fuel-injected overhead cam V6. We're talking major money.
The under $18,000, 160 horsepower Nissan Maxima. The four-door sports car. Test drive one at your nearest Nissan dealer now.
Caray and the Roller Coaster Cubs of '89 are being brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Better Buick dealers. The Great American Road belongs to Buick. True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value your store of first choice. Pepsi, a generation ahead. Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race.